2024 will be remembered as the year of the collapse of the US dollar.
Can the US dollar remain the global reserve currency?
Absolutely not.
So there's a very, very strong motivation for a lot of countries to move away from the dollar.
For all of our lives, the dollar has been the king of currencies around the world. But is that about to change?
The BRICS nations are developing a new currency to reduce global reliance on the US dollar.
The blockchain system is going to be part of the BRICS financial system that will allow the member countries to completely avoid using any of the Western transfer systems. The BRICS announced that the system will be available to countries, to businesses, and even to people. The announcement underscored that they do want the system to be completely free of politics.
The dollar would collapse, the stock market would collapse, the bond market would collapse, banking system would collapse, the insurance companies would collapse, everything. This is the Great Reset.
In just 3 short years, the world order has transformed so drastically that it's almost unbelievable. Even the Roman Empire, which took 200 years to crumble, would be amazed by such rapid change. But the next big shift in global power could happen overnight. This week alone has seen several major developments that mainstream media largely ignored. We're talking about significant financial moves by the BRICS nations and major geopolitical shifts involving Russia, China, and Saudi Arabia. The BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, are planning to introduce a new digital currency at their upcoming summit in October 2024. So let's dive into some burning questions. Could this new BRICS currency really shake up the entire financial world overnight? What makes BRICS's digital currency more attractive than the US dollar? Why is the US dollar so vulnerable to being dethroned? What major political changes could follow if the US dollar is dethroned? And how could this new currency impact everyday people around the world? All right, let's dive into why the BRICS digital currency could be more attractive than the good old US dollar. Picture this. You're a small business owner trying to trade internationally. You've always relied on the US dollar, but the fees, delays, and political strings attached make you wonder if there's a better way. Enter BRICS's new digital currency system. First off, the BRICS nations are working on a blockchain-based payment system. This isn't just some tech gimmick. It's a strategic move to reduce their reliance on the US dollar and the Western financial system. The BRICS nations collectively represent about 42% of the world's population and a significant chunk of global economic activity. China and India alone are 2 of the world's fastest-growing major economies. The potential for a digital currency here is huge. It would make trade between these countries smoother and less reliant on the US dollar. Imagine a world where sending money across borders is as easy as sending an email with minimal fees and real-time processing. That's a stark contrast to the current system dominated by the US dollar, which often involves multiple intermediaries and significant costs. One of the biggest draws of the BRICS digital currency is its potential to reduce reliance on the US dollar. Today, the dollar dominates global trade and finance, but this comes with its own set of issues. For instance, countries trading in dollars must navigate the complexities and fluctuations of the US economy, which can be quite volatile. On the other hand, a BRICS digital currency would allow these nations to trade directly with each other, bypassing the dollar and potentially stabilizing their own economies. Let's talk numbers. The combined GDP of the BRICS nations is a hefty chunk of the global economy, over 24% and growing. With China's digital yuan already making waves, the BRICS digital currency aims to build on this momentum. For example, China successfully settled a major oil transaction entirely in digital yuan, showcasing the real-world applicability and potential of digital currencies.
But according to JP Morgan's head of global commodities, 1/5 of global oil trade used non-dollar currencies in 2023. Now, using foreign currencies for 20% of oil trade is a huge number, considering the fact that just a few years ago, the US government had an almost complete monopoly on the oil market with the petrodollar.
Establishing a currency for BRICS nations, lessen our dependence on the US dollar, strengthen our economies.
But it's not just about economic stability and efficiency. There's also the political angle. By creating their own digital currency, BRICS nations are pushing for a more multipolar world order, reducing Western financial dominance. This move is akin to diversifying your investment portfolio to reduce risk. For these nations, it's about having more control over their economic destiny, rather than being at the mercy of US policies and sanctions. Moreover, the technology behind the BRICS digital currency is designed to be more inclusive. In many developing nations, a significant portion of the population remains unbanked. Digital currencies, accessible via smartphones, can bring banking services to millions who were previously excluded from the financial system. This can spur economic growth and improve living standards across the BRICS nations. So, why should you care about the BRICS digital currency? Well, think about how cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum have already changed how we think about money. The BRICS digital currency has the potential to be even more transformative, especially given the sheer size and economic power of the nations involved. It's like watching the rise of a new global player in real time, one that could challenge the status quo and offer a viable alternative to the dollar-dominated system. So, why is the US dollar, which has been the king of currencies for decades, suddenly looking a bit shaky on its throne? Well, there are a few reasons, and some of them might surprise you. First off, let's talk about debt. The US national debt hit a staggering $34 trillion this year. That's a mind-boggling number, right? Imagine trying to stack $1 trillion bills. It would reach nearly a quarter of the way to the moon. This massive debt raises concerns about the country's ability to manage its finances effectively. Economists are worried that this could lead to higher inflation, reduced investment, and overall economic instability, making the dollar less attractive. Another interesting factor is the changing landscape of global finance. Commodities like gold and cryptocurrencies are on the rise. Gold prices have hit record highs, and Bitcoin has soared by over 150% in recent months. These trends indicate that investors are looking for safe havens outside of the traditional dollar-based assets. It's like everyone suddenly deciding to diversify their portfolios with new, exciting options instead of sticking with the old ones. Political factors also play a significant role. The US has been experiencing increased political polarization and legislative gridlock. With Congress often at a standstill, the U.S. struggles to address long-term fiscal issues. This instability can erode confidence in the dollar. If the U.S. can't get its financial house in order, why should the rest of the world bet on its currency?
Our media and our leaders don't want to talk about fiat currencies, and they don't want to acknowledge this or even discuss this. But one of the leading indicators of the loss of trust in the United States dollar is the fact that foreign central banks are increasingly willing to sell the reserve dollars and to purchase gold instead. This is precisely what they've been doing to mitigate the growing threats to the value of the dollar that are posed by geopolitical tensions and a growing possibility of a wider conflict emerging soon.
So, what major political changes could we see if the BRICS digital currency dethroned the US dollar? And how would this shakeup impact everyday people around the world? First, let's consider the geopolitical shift. If BRICS successfully rolls out a digital currency that overtakes the US dollar, we could witness a seismic shift in global power dynamics. For decades, Western-led institutions like the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank have been at the center of global finance, heavily influenced by the US and Europe. But a strong, stable BRICS currency could diminish their dominance, creating a more balanced financial landscape. Countries currently under the economic sway of the US might start looking towards BRICS for new alliances. This could lead to a world where power is more evenly distributed rather than being dominated by a few Western countries. For instance, recent additions to BRICS, like Saudi Arabia and the UAE, bolster the bloc's economic and political clout. It's like a growing club that everyone wants to join, shifting global alliances and strategies. Now, how does this impact the everyday person? For one, international transactions could become smoother and cheaper. Currently, sending money across borders is a hassle, with high fees and long processing times. But with a BRICS digital currency leveraging blockchain technology, these transactions could be instantaneous and much cheaper. Imagine sending money to a friend overseas without worrying about hefty charges or long wait times. But there's more. If the BRICS digital currency gains traction, it could stabilize economies that are currently vulnerable to dollar fluctuations. Many countries hold large reserves of US dollars to protect against currency volatility. However, this makes them susceptible to US monetary policy changes. With a new, stable alternative, countries could reduce their dependence on the dollar, leading to more economic stability and resilience. Another significant impact would be on US sanctions. The US uses its dollar dominance to enforce sanctions, significantly impacting targeted nations. A robust BRICS currency could provide a way for these countries to trade and transact without fear of being cut off from the global financial system. In essence, the rise of a BRICS digital currency could transform both the global financial system and everyday life. It could lead to a more multipolar world with financial systems that are inclusive and resilient. Imagine being part of a global economy that isn't dominated by any single nation, but is balanced and fairer for everyone. So, as we look to the future, it's clear that the potential dethroning of the US dollar by a BRICS digital currency isn't just a financial shift. It's a game changer that could redefine our world. What do you think? How might this change impact your life and the global landscape? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, hit that thumbs up. And for the latest in geopolitics, don't miss this video right here.